council meeting, and our first one is call to order for closed session, I guess.
Mayor Pacheco,
Here?
Mayor Pro Tem Escobar,
Here.
Councilmember Hodge,
Here.
Councilmember Real is absent, Councilmember Hurtado is absent. We have a quorum, Mayor.
Okay, since there's no one in the audience, we'll dispense with reading of the public comments in the 3 minutes.
It may behoove you to say
We'll adjourn into closed session now. Thank you. To convene and open up the meeting, City Council meeting and Redevelopment Successor Agency, regular session, and it's 6:44. We're going to call the session to order. Roll call.
Mayor Pacheco,
Here?
Mayor Pro Tem Escobar,
Here.
Councilmember Hodge, Councilmember Real is absent, Councilmember Hurtado.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Renson, could you leave us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Ready to begin? Going to read our mission statement. Could we have
Together,
We pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Calexico.
Viva Calexico.
we remain standing for our invocation by Pastor Sasueta.
Good evening, Lord bless you all. Father, we are so grateful, God, that we can approach your throne tonight. And God, we don't take that lightly, Lord. And God, we are grateful, God, that we live in a city that acknowledges you. And God, that we have a leadership in the city of Calexico that acknowledges you publicly, Lord God, in their council meetings. So God, I would pray, Lord God, that you would bless them, the citizens and the leadership of this city. And God, we want to pause for a few moments, Lord God, to remember those in the city of Redding, Lord, and the neighboring cities there, God, that are going through such a difficult time right now, Lord God. I think of the families, God, that have lost loved ones. God, may they sense your presence. May you embrace them as only you can. And God, may your grace and your mercy fall upon them tonight, Lord. And God, as we continue here with this meeting, Lord, I pray blessings upon the leadership, God, that you would give them wisdom. And God, we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Mr. Campos, any closed session announcements?
Thank you, Mayor. City Council met in closed session on the 4 items listed on this evening's agenda. We did receive direction, but no reportable actions were taken. Thank you.
For the approval of the agenda, Mr. Campos, is there
We have an item.
Correct. There's one item, Mr. Mayor, that will be continuing to a future special meeting date, and that's item number 16, local initiative measure establishing a tax on cannabis businesses operating within the city of Calexico.
we will not be,
So we're going to continue that to a future meeting date.
we won't discuss that one tonight. Okay. These proceedings could be viewed on our website, www.calexico. Motion for the approval of the
Motion.
agenda?
I'll make a motion,
Second.
Mr. Mayor,
Motion.
to approve the agenda.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we can go. You can view these at the website, www.calexico.ca.gov on Friday. And we will be having another community hour to speak on your concerns, whatever you have, and we'll allow you to meet with us. And we'll do that at the last Wednesday, the fourth Wednesday of each month, from 5:30 to 7:30 right here. Could the city clerk please read the public announcements?
This is the time for the public to address the City Council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. If the item you wish to comment on is on the consent item, please comment now. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. If the item you wish to comment on is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comments when we get to the item on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council.
Thank you. Do we have anybody for any comments?
Ben Horton?
Mr. Mayor, distinguished members of the City Council, public at large. The reason I'm up here today is not to talk about something I haven't been talking about, but yet to reinforce what was said before. This in reference to the bid meetings, and I'm doing this as a citizen, not as economic or anything like that. One of the things that has happened, and we have a resolution and also ordinance, if I'm not mistaken, that governs the bid. I have said to you about 1.5 years ago, if we didn't do certain things, we were going to be in violation of the ordinance and the resolution that established the bid and the working manners of the bid in reference to the bylaws and what takes place. Now, one of the things that I'm bringing to the council to look at is that certain, and I know for one business paid $100 or part of his business license, which he shouldn't have been paid. He was told he was going to have a refund for that. It was never made. Now, I'm bringing it up to you at this point that you'll know whatever happens from this point on, you had a notice of it. And I hope that you understand what I mean by that. I'm saying that as a citizen. Now, with all due respect to the City Council, I did ask our the City Council about the bid, and it wasn't exactly a priority, the manner that it was put forth. Now, to me, when you ask people to pay money as part of their business license, it becomes a priority because they're expecting a service to be put forth, and it hasn't been put forth. So what have you done? I hear the city and some of the city councilors saying that the bid is not doing anything. I have talked to some of the members, supposedly the members, they don't even know that they're members of the bid. Now, a couple of months ago, I said that I would even write the lesson plans to train our commissions. The commission, you appoint people to the commission, but that's where it stops. There's no information, no law, no understanding of it, no group meeting to explain what's to take place. You're just appointed to the commission, and you're supposed to wander in the dark and make it happen. Well, it hadn't happened. And I take offense when I have certain city council persons say, well, the commissions aren't doing anything. And why aren't they doing anything? Because supposedly they don't have any information. And the leadership, what leadership? And to me, that's where we're falling short on. Now, on item 22, I'll just mention, you have the minutes of the Economic Financial Advisory. We have been meeting. We have moved forward to make things happen. And why has that happened? Because we have worked as a team, both with the staff and us as commission members. We work as a team. But our commission has a little bit of knowledge. They know how things work, and they make things work. Other commissions don't have that. And they didn't get any instructions, nothing. and we're falling short to the service that we could provide to the city and to this group as advisories. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Horton.
Mark Baza?
Sure. Mayor, City Council, and staff, and community. I just wanted to make an announcement that on August 23rd, we're going to have a workshop to discuss the northbound temporary access at the Calexico West Port of Entry that will be at 2nd Street. This is part of a grant that we got from Caltrans. We've been working with your city staff and Caltrans and all the federal agencies and to come up with some temporary solutions to help us manage traffic, but also look into the long term when Cesar Chavez Boulevard is ultimately completed. And so we'll have 3 sessions on that August 23rd, 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., 4 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And so just an early opportunity to get the word out to you. Our consultant team will be sending out notices as they did previously through social media and other mechanisms. And even on the day of our last workshop that we held for the southbound on, I believe it was June 21st, that we even had a staff person walking around to the various businesses downtown, getting the word out to get people to come in. We had well over 100 people attend throughout that day at that workshop then. And so we hope to have the same success. We're still working on some details about what are our opportunities for this new movement of northbound at 2nd Street, and so we'll hope to have. We expect that the northbound opening will be in September, but we don't have a definitive date, and that we expect that will come from the federal governments from both sides, and they don't have that date just yet. So. If you have any questions?
Well, no, thank you for trying to reach out to the community and getting us informed on what's going to happen and what's expected, and we'll be waiting for those three dates, those 3 times.
Great.
Thank you.
Mark, I just want to thank you and Virginia for the hard work you've done. I know this has not been an easy project for you, and I just wanted to commend both of you for your
Thank you so
efforts.
much. It's our honor to work with your staff here and all of our partners, So, thank you.
Ricardo Servín?
Hello, my name is Richard Servín. I'm a member of Calexico. Okay, we had an event on Friday. Guadalupe Club sponsored family night in the swimming pool. A club donated some tickets for the kids, but the one that was in charge of that event was Sandra Tyler. But she was charging $1 for a kid and $2 for adult. It's supposed to be free for the kids and the adults. Why are they charging for that? Because I want to know why. Thank you.
Thank you. That was our pool. We had a pooled evening. Invited the community to go attend pool night. I didn't know they were charging for the admission.
$1 and $2.
That was stated. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Servin. Anybody else, Ms. Garza?
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, James Beaver, Calexico resident, Police Advisory Commissioner.
In your last meeting, some of you councilmen were asking about substituting for commissioners. So I'm just going to kind of bring you up to date a little bit. Everything commissions does is under ordinances, and every commission is supposed to have their bylaws, so they are given direction of what they can do. On ordinance number 1159, under section 219060, alternative intermembers, any commissioner, board member, or committee member appointed pursuant to this chapter was to attend a scheduled meeting shall immediately notify the council member who appointed them. And they can actually sit in for that council, for that commissioner, especially if there's a forum. What the commissioner is supposed to do, they're supposed to notify their appointed councilman member and tell them within 24 hours, if possible, that they won't be able to attend. And I think the council members should contact the city clerk to see if they have a quorum. So it's very important that in order to continue the meeting, we have a quorum, any commission. And so each member invited to participate. And the question was raised, I think, by Mr. Pacheco, Mayor, that can you vote? And yes, you can. You can vote, just like if you're a member, and you can even sit in if a member resigns or quits for that individual until you replace him. And if any member within 45 days cannot replace a council member, a commissioner, then the whole council can vote and assign that person that position. If there's any questions, I'll give you a full report come next meeting, so we have an understanding on that.
Thank you, Mr. Beavers.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
David Romero?
All right, David.
David Romero, 1290 R. Santos. Good afternoon, council members, city manager, citizens. I'm here to talk to you guys about the last week. For the last 2 weeks, we've had meetings in regards to the water rates that we're currently going through right now at the moment. Been looking at more into details on why we need to do what they need to do with the both water plant and wastewater plant. We should be having a meeting by next week, no later than the following week, since we are going to see the new revised rate study, since I know citizens are not too happy with the way they've stated out the water rates. And it's obviously, it's your call, and they completely understand. So we're trying to do our homework we can better inform you guys. 'Cause I actually come on behalf of the Finance and Economic Development Committee, and as a citizen here, as a citizen myself, so we can better give you guys information on why it's needed. I'm not saying that I'm for it or against it, but I'm really trying to put it all together so we can see what's the best benefit for the entire city in general. So we will keep you updated. We don't know yet when the next meeting will be. It's probably stated for next week. Keep in mind, those citizens, it is open to the public for the citizens. If you do want to maybe learn a little more, understand why there is a need for that, and get all those questions answered for you, I would highly suggest that you join us for that upcoming meeting whenever it gets stated, okay? So as soon as something else new comes out, I'll definitely let you guys know. Thank you. They're being held actually here at the city manager's conference room. So they've been normally on Mondays at 6 p.m. But as soon as we know again the following date, I will, at least I'll go out of my way to let you guys know, whether it be via social media or, just the best way to put it out there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
Mr. Kim?
Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna need more time to talk, that's why I'm gonna short my greeting with the people. And first of all, Ms. Garcia sent me the email about the backup documents, the several meetings. I received it, and she questioning, is there anything missing? One of the missing is Council Member Jesus Escobar. He announced it to the people while I'm informing the people how are starting the water rate and the trash water bill going up. And when I was mayor, Mr. Jesus Escobar came twice to me to asking me to increase the trash bill. So I was explaining in that, and he came into the chamber, and he was yelling to me, "I'm liar." And same time he was saying is, I signed the paper, raise the trash service fees. He was announced to the people, I'm asking the copy, and I still don't get that one yet.
What is your question, Mr. Kim?
It's not a question. I'm demanding the copy of the paper. June Kim signed it as a raise the trash bill, trash fees. That's been announced to the people. So I need to have a copy of I signed it, the paper, as raising the trash fees.
Trash.
Supposedly, cities activities. And the other one is I'm congratulating our council to conducting secret meeting. So as a public meeting, how can you guys to remove the reporter out of the meeting? This is not the Soviet. This is not the North Korea. Why? What purpose for doing it? I only can imagine. They want to block the people know what's going on. So whatever you guys have a finance committee meeting, whatever meeting you're holding, it's not worth it. Just make the distracting the people. It looks like showing the people say, "Oh, we're working for you," and meeting for nothing. The main goal is raise the rate. It's secret meeting. It's failing first of all things, transparency of our cities. Thank you for the good job. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all we have. Thank you. Moving on to comments for City Council, reports on meetings or anything. Mr. Hurtado, any comments?
I'd like to just comment that we did receive a letter from the Mexicali mayor, Mayor Pacheco, inviting to continue working with them and yourself, and they want to schedule that as soon as possible because we need a lot of more work, like we noticed today, with New River issues and things that are international. Definitely want to continue that, so I'm really excited to have that meeting scheduled soon.
Okay. Yeah, he did send me a letter of congratulating the council. Mr. Hodge?
I just want to say that I totally concur with Mr. Ben Horton on the commissions, and it's like a broken record. We've gone over this over and over and over and over again, and I just guess we lack the will or the interest. I don't want to give up. And one thing I would like to see as an informational item, and this is just one little thing, is it's the minutes from the different commissions so that we know that meetings are being held. I know that's more work, but commissions are very important. And I'll state it now rather than later. I would like to suggest some discussion maybe next time or privately about an ad hoc committee for getting our commissions off the ground, for straightening out the flaws, the areas where it's just not happening, and coming up with solutions and acting on those solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Mr. Escobar, any comments?
Mr. Figueroa, could we get just a very brief update on the Rockwood project between First and Second Street? Any updates specifically on that project?
What we discussed at our last city council meeting was the possibility of utilizing a SCAC program, which is the Active Transportation Program, to look at projects for the city so they could be funded. We submitted an application yesterday, actually, for one of the projects that we discussed. That's for the Parkway project for the New River. when it comes to the possibility of looking at the Rockwood project, we are looking that hopefully in the very, very near future, you're going to be having the opportunity to discuss the possibility of looking at community development block grants for the city of Calexico, and the Rockwood project that has been discussed at length by the council would be an ideal fit for that. So in essence, that is something that's being considered for that, Councilman Escobar.
Thank you. The other comment is based on, again, we're going back to the commissions. I think I suggested last meeting or 2 meetings ago that we all assign ourselves to 1 or specifically 2 commissions, other than planning, obviously. I think it's important that we become actively involved in these commissions, or we don't have them, and obviously that's not an option. So it really is in our best interest to get this off the ground and get this going ASAP, and we need to get these assignments in as quickly as possible and start meeting with our respective commissions again as soon as possible. Is this something you can take the lead on, Mr. Dale?
Yeah, yes,
Or can you give us an update if you're already working on these?
we have it on our
Okay, I'll be quiet then.
Radar.
Thank you.
It was on your to-do list.
yeah.
Just want to say that we did have, we have been meeting with the Water and Sewer Committee to come up with just about anything that any concerns and the cost of repairs and what we're doing and what we're trying to do. I think we're trying to get the word out to the committee that we are in dire need of getting a plan for our city in both water and sewer. We had our first meeting last week with Mayor Pro Tem and myself, and the press was there, and he got a chance to hear the concerns of the citizens, and it was sparsely attended, but we did hear the concerns, and we did hear them, and we tried to make recommendations on what they were conveying to us. So it was a good start. So we expect more from our residents to attend these meetings and listen to their concerns.
Mr. Mayor, because of the closed quarters, we cannot have 3 council members.
That's correct. We'd be violating the Brown. Okay, we have 2. So, okay. Going on. Mr. Diego, anything for the good of the order? Mr. Dale?
Yeah, we have it on our list here on
Okay.
City Manager Report, Update and Direction on the future role of the bid and other city commission. I'll let Mr. Figueroa.
So as it's been alluded to in the public comment section of our agenda and by council members here tonight, I do want to point out that as part of the meetings that the Economic Development and Financial Advisory Commission has had dating back to September of 2017, one of the meetings, the discussion and the recommendation given by the commission was that we look at the bid, at the Business Improvement District, and how it is that we could assist and do something about making sure the duties for the 2 zones that are represented in the bid be looked at and followed up upon. One of the things that we do know is that the bid has not convened for over a year. As a result, a progress report on the duties and activities of the bid was not presented to council because no meetings were conveyed. As part of the recommendation made by the commission, it was to have our city attorney look at the possibility and the legalities as to how we could incorporate the duties of the bid into our commission. And as a result of the analysis that was performed by a city attorney, it is viable and it is an option that the bid be merged with the Economic Development and Financial Advisory Commission. So with that in mind, at this point, giving the staffing at City Hall, we feel as administrators that that would be an option that would be viable so we can begin to gain and harbor momentum, not only on what the commission is doing, but attracting the duties and responsibilities of the bid into it. That's an option that we're putting at the table for the commission, for the city council. As part of the recommendation that you gave us at our last city council meeting to look into this matter, when it comes to the bid, that is what we want to report. Secondly, what would that entail? That would mean that we would have to go back and amend and revise our bylaws of the commission to bring that in. In addition to that, right now, I believe Mr. Hodge and Mr. Escobar discussed the role of city council members in the commissions. That is obviously something that can occur if you so wish. On our end, we wanted to make sure that we touched on the important subject, which was the bid and how that can be tailored into one of the existing commissions. At this point, Mr. Dale, I'm not sure if it would be appropriate if the commissioners want to be specific in terms of how you want to handle the other commissions.
Yeah.
So direction can be provided and we can enact upon that.
Okay. We can tell you where we'd like to be.
I do have a comment, though. The Business Improvement District does not lack appointed members. They have appointed members.
At this point, the current roster is made up of 3 members. We received notice because of health reasons, 1 member had to step down.
Okay. The
Yes.
reason is my concern with the bid, which personally, I am within the bid
Sure.
as a person and as a business, is that has money. They have revenues. And if we're not consulting the bid themselves, what they want to do with themselves, we are asking another commission that doesn't have revenues how we're going to direct the bid that has revenues. As if we may need to reconvene bid to make their own decision if they want to make that kind of combination. Because your bid members are a completely different focus, I guess. And to allow for another commission to take someone else over without even consulting with the existing members, have we done that? Have we even talked to the 3 members? That is a quorum.
Were you going to expand this committee and add more people from the business?
One of the things that's being considered is precisely that, Mr. Pacheco. If we're going to incorporate the duties, as you rightfully mentioned, Councilwoman Hurtado, that are unique to the bid, those are the factors that we're also considering. One of the reasons also that we're even bringing this up is because in terms of being efficient with the time, scheduling of meetings, we've ran into some issues in terms of trying to do that with the bid. We felt that giving, like I mentioned, the staffing of the city, that it would be appropriate that if we could legally make this happen, where we consider the uniqueness and responsibilities of the bid first off.
With revenues.
Exactly. So that way we could make it work. We can continue to have our commission meetings as we've had for the past months and incorporate an important piece of that for the city, which is the bid. Going back to your comment, which is also well taken regarding the funding. There's been monies that are levied on an annual basis. It didn't happen this year, but that is a matter that will also have to be addressed, and that's why it's going to be important that there be representation of the bid in that commission. That's how we would address that matter.
Thank you, Mr. Figueroa.
Mr. Dale?
Anybody else? All righty. Moving on to the consent agenda. Can we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we accept 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11, and we pull 10.
I agree on that. I just wanted to, if we could, make a mention on number 8. I think that's important to mention just outside, just a small mention.
Pull number 8 also.
So
Be proud of what we're doing there.
Restate that.
Restate my motion to approve 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11, and we pull 8 and 10.
For
I will
discussion,
second that.
there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to discuss number 8 first.
Number 8.
And that's Ms. Hurtado.
I just wanted to have the citizens of Calexico know that this is a MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, between the County of Imperial, the County of Riverside, with regard to the Salton Sea. Just want to let the citizens of Calexico know that the city of Calexico does care about the Salton Sea, together with the other agencies. So, just want to make sure we say that, because that's in an area where it wasn't going to be mentioned, so. very
We're,
important.
we're going to support the
Solvency
efforts.
issues are very important to Calexico. Calexico has probably the highest rate of asthma, and as we know, Salton Sea is drying up, so that does cause a lot of problems for our
And
local.
cancer.
Air
everything.
quality, yes.
So we just want everyone to know that we are working together with our partners out there with regard to the Salton Sea.
Thank you, Ms.
So
Rosa.
do we motion for its approval, I
Well,
guess?
do we take them? Well, let's do this one. Number 8, all those in favor accepting item number 8?
Aye.
Aye.
Second,
I motion for its approval.
and second by Mr. Escobar. All those in favor? Ayes.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 10.
I'm not questioning the, what
Expend-
we're doing with number 10. What I'm questioning is after reviewing the material, and it's only 0.1, if you do the math, it's less than 0.1% of the overall expense budget. So again, it's not really the amount I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is that, I can't find it, but I know I highlighted it. Somewhere in here it states that this is basically being a rubber stamp since the year 2000, if I remember correctly. And we're in 2018. So then this is something that continually happens in Calexico, where we don't review, from a budgetary standpoint, third-party service provider agreements. And again, this is less than 0.1% of our general fund expense. I realize that, but the point I'm trying to make is that each and every third-party service provider needs to be reviewed on a continual basis. And again, the city has had this partnership since 2000. So it might be a very strong partnership, but again, have we reviewed the costs associated with this? And just to kind of light everybody's light bulb on, or turn everybody's light bulb on, we need to be very, very careful when we just continually approve third-party service providers.
Without review.
This is where we split the cost with the CUSD
Yes.
and their high school.
It's
Okay.
it's a unique system that,
It's a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor of approving item 10?
Make a motion to
Motion.
approve 10?
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on, we have item number 12. 2 speakers for item number 12.
Jose Hinojosa?
Oh, you only have pulled number 8 and number 10? So I have just those two?
Good evening, honorable council members, public. My name is Jose Hinojosa, 1056 F. Torres. I would like to propose to this council, there's 2 sections, there's 2 parts of this tax that's you will be voting on today. The CFD tax, which is it's based on the square footage of the homes, and a special services tax that homeowners are charged for a family recreation center and areas, green areas in the community. That tax that special services tax has been attached to our tax roll for the past 12 years. But we actually don't have a family recreation center or an entrance where that tax could be applied. 2 years ago, council instructed finance to separate that special services tax, which is almost $120,000 per year. So that tax, it's sitting on an account. It's been sitting on an account for 2 years now. And that tax, those tax monies were supposed to be used for our streets, for our the project that was done last year in the community. So I would like to propose to this council, working with our city manager, which has been really responsive, and with our finance director that answered calls, and we've met, and we're trying to unravel what's really going on with our community. I would like to propose this council to vote in favor of levying the tax. We're working together with management to find a solution for that. Vote to levy the tax, the CFD, but completely remove the special services tax because we're not getting any special services. We don't have a family recreation center. We don't have green areas that have to be taken care of. And those monies still have to be separated from those monies are not going to the county to pay for our debt or for our principal balance in our bond. So I would like to propose this and have council, as a good faith effort to resolve our issues, remove that tax, that special tax, not the CFD, just the special tax that we're being charged, which is $498 per year for that special services, which we don't have anything special in our community. If you have any questions.
Thank you.
That's,
Mr. Hodge?
that's wrong.
The special services tax is wrong. Okay.
Seems like it.
You're
All right, thank you.
Mr. Dale, they've never had their park and their pool, everything that was promised to them because of the crash. There was a crash back in 2010, 12, and none of this was given. So I know it's a hard sell. They've been paying for something that wasn't given to them. But how would you like to respond to this?
Would you like?
Mr. I understand we do have the second speaker card. I suggest maybe we hear the second speaker card and then have a deliberation amongst
sorry.
council on this question and other items that maybe arise.
Thank you, Mr. Campos.
Mr. Kim?
John Kim again. As when I was a council, we approved that for the separating the service taxes to no more send it to the bank to serve the community, to spend money for the repairs and all the service for that communities. But 12 years we've been sending the what's called the CFT bond payments because they were not collecting full amount money, so they were sending it. So probably city owes that money to the community. Without nobody's accepting, city was illegally to send the payments to them. That's not belongs to the payments. That belongs to service for that community, not to the bank payments. And besides that, and Mr. Pacheco was mentioning was they not complied with their promises because the city gave them the waiver to releasing the money before they finish the project, which is may lose money, taxes, they should be spend all the pennies for that project first before doing the home building on the project. City of Calexico ignored that law and they give them the chance to using their money build the house instead of the road. So that's happening, and then they didn't finish the project, and then when the comes, they didn't do it. And city failed to supervising that project, city's fault. City is going to be liable on that actions because city didn't do supervising that project. That's why it's a fail altogether. So I like to see the council member to take the action to try to recuperating from that error to at least help the communities. That community is part of the city. The community, because that's the fail of the CFT tax, they are not growing. They just staying as like the forgotten areas. We need to help these areas to be progressive. That when they get solved the problem, their value going up. That means city of Calexico are going to get the more property tax. That's impacting our revenue too. So look into that to positively try to recover error from the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a comment?
Comments from the city council?
The concern of the resident, Jose, talks about the special services. So I'm looking at a chart, legal and council. We're looking at a chart that talks about the two separate sections of the tax. And the top one says special facilities tax requirements, and it's $1,035,000. And then the other is the special services tax. I guess that's what we're referring to. Jose, where are you? That's what you're referring to? I'm sorry, I'm not just say yes or no. Because what I'm looking at, legal, is that it says that it's for public safety services, administrative expenses, and anticipated delinquencies. That is what he's talking about? City Attorney?
Yep.
That was the ones that was the type of tax that was halted there for a couple of years? Is that the one he's talking about?
You know, I defer to staff. I'm not too
Sorry?
familiar. I defer to staff on that question. Maybe the finance director can.
Right, that's the one he's talking about, the special services, the 118,000, the $1 million that's to pay the bond, to make the bond payment.
Okay. I'm very, very, very familiar with this subject. I lived in there, in that area. I originally purchased a home. However, when I was on council, I was unable to participate in any of the conversations due to a conflict of interest. And after I sold my home, I couldn't talk about it for a whole year after that also. But I'm very familiar. And I know that this CFD at this time did not include a park within the residence area there. I believe what ended up happening there was that it was contributing to a fund, a park fund. And a couple of the concerns about what this special tax, what I just heard right now, might be confusing. Because as far as my experience and knowledge in this tax and how it was laid out, concerns me that the community and the council have the proper information on how this was distributed or should be distributed. So the clarification when the public comes and tells us how they understand these things to happen, I think it's really important for staff to help us to understand a little deeper.
And I think we'll need to research it a little more,
Yeah, I
but
think-
right now, let's take the motion and vote on the item, and then advise city manager and staff to look at that service tax to see exactly what it is.
Yeah, my understanding is we can go back later and strip it off if it's approved. So we do need to look at this a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We're going to vote on item number 12, approval of a resolution for the city council determining and levying the special tax in community facilities district numbers 2005-1, Hearthstone. Is there a motion?
Motion for its approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can we comment?
Comments?
Okay, there's two avenues we need to attack. And I think we're working on both. One was mentioned, our committee member, as far as the 118,880, 160, which is the special services tax that you're
Yeah.
going to be working on.
Right.
The other one that's extremely important as well is the fact that not only did the developer go under in the Great Recession of 2008, 2009, but the bonding agency went under in the Great Recession as well. So it was like a perfect storm. But what we do need to do, yes. But what we need to do is obviously, given the ramifications of what happened, we need to renegotiate the terms of this bond. And I know you're working on it,
Yeah.
but we need to kind of put it into high gear to make it fair for the residents as well. So obviously, if things did not go the residents' way, they didn't go the city's way, we need to reassess that. We need to renegotiate that to obviously to a better fit for both the city and obviously for the residents of that community.
To that, we did have a meeting with the county and with the assessor's office and legal from the county, and we went through some options to do, and they gave us a little bit of guidance on how to move this process along.
Right.
So we are working towards that end to get something for the cities and the community for this Hearthstone. Anything else you want to?
There's some technical things that we have to take care of on our side before the county can move. So we started that process.
Yeah.
And I share the concern that this is becoming more critical as we're using some of our reserves to pay the actual bond payments back. So.
We're looking at it.
Do we have an expertise from BB&K in real estate that's going to these meetings?
We do have BB&K on board on this issue as well, yeah.
We'll talk about it a little bit later.
Okay, moving along. Item number 13. Adopting resolutions approving memorandum of understanding between the City of Calexico, Calexico Municipal Employees Association, CMEA, for the term beginning March 2018 to June 30th, 2021. Any comments?
No representatives from CMEA? Such a special
ahead.
day.
You wanna
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. They really have done, they've taken up and picked up the banner, and they've really helped out the city, and they've been taking a hit for quite a while, and they've been asked to do miracles, and they have been doing those miracles.
They were the first ones to sign off 2 years ago, if I
They
remember
were,
correctly.
and we're going to remember that. Yes. Item 14, adoption of resolution approving a letter of understanding between the City of Calexico and the CPOA for a term beginning July 1, 2018 and ending June 30,
All our union members are
2023.
on vacation. That's what it is.
Anybody here? Mr. Serrano?
Representing.
He's not on the
Oh, yeah, he's
PO.
not union.
He's management.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Cruz.
Well,
Okay, is there
I'll
a
make
motion to accept?
to approve.
Motion for its approval.
Motion and a second.
Oh,
Mr.
second.
Mr. Escobar, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And also,
Congrats to
again,
both.
they did provide us with give and take, and we did negotiate in good terms. And it took a while to negotiate, but it got done, and we think we got a good deal for both sides.
We're
So
very
thank you.
patient people.
Yes, we are. We're going to skip, item 15 is TOT tax, replacement of transit occupation hotel tax measure on the measure of November the 6th, 2018 on the ballot.
Yes, I'll let our city attorney get into the technicalities of it, but I do want to make a couple of statements on this item. The last time that the TOT was looked at by the city council was a while back. It's been many years since the TOT was looked at. One of the things that I do want to be clear is that the city attorney and I performed an analysis in our region in terms of what percentage was being used by other cities. And we're not that far off. I do want to make that clear. However, one of the things that's been discussed possibly for the past year and a half, from what I've been told and from what I've seen here at the City of Calexico, is that we want to make sure that we make the best of any opportunity to bring in revenue to the city to provide the services that our community needs. So for those of you that have taken the time and looked and read the item, one of the reasons that we're looking at this is, one, we want to be up to par with our region in terms of what the tax on any person that occupies a hotel in our city should be paying for. We need to be clear, this is not for the general public, this is only for those that stay at hotels in Calexico. One of the ambitious things that I think everybody here on the dais and even in the community have talked about is some of the growth that the city needs in terms of business expansion. And we're laying the groundwork on that through the commission, through what the council has been approving of late. And obviously right now the dollar figure that you see in that fiscal impact that we'll have, it's small, but it's something that we don't have right now. But in addition to that, if we consider that possibly we could be looking at future opportunities in the hotel industry in the near future, our numbers could go up. Again, that's hypothetically speaking, but I want to make sure that we start thinking about the possibilities of how this money could multiply down the road. That is why I believe it's important, one, that we revisit this, because it's long overdue, one, and two, it's a benefit that we don't have right now. And that's why it's important that we want to be clear as to why this is being brought and why there's a need for it. Carlos, please.
Yes, Council. In terms of, to put a TOT tax, since it's considered a tax under state law, we need voter approval. And in order to get voter approval, we're looking to place this on the November election. In order to do so, we need to adopt the 3 resolutions before you. The first is resolution number 2018-48. That's a resolution that places the measure increasing the TOT tax from 10 to 12% on the November election. At the same time, too, we're doing an entire overhaul of your TOT ordinance. I think about 85% of the current ordinance was adopted in 1965. But that's common, and obviously since then, the way folks book hotels with online travel companies, older ordinances don't capture those type of transactions. So this ordinance not only, one, increases it for 10 to 12%, but it also overhauls your ordinance to capture transaction of hotel rentals to online travel companies. The next 2 ordinances, Resolution 2018-49 and 2018-50, those are boilerplate resolutions. 49 requests the Board of Supervisors consolidate the selection, and the resolution number 50, that sets timing and regulations for the arguments in favor and against the measure. So we would need to adopt these 3 resolutions by 4 unanimous votes of the City Council, since it requires a supermajority vote of the City Council.
2/3 vote, okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Honorable Mayor, I have one last thought on this. Back in February, as part of a presentation that was given to this council, one of the items that was discussed was precisely this opportunity that we bring forth to your consideration right now. And again, being congruent with the work that's being done at the commission level, it's being passed on now after discussion to the City Council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second that.
Very good. Is all those in favor of?
Aye.
Aye. Passed. It's not Las Vegas tax, but 12% is okay. Boy. They okay, let's look at, we're
17.
we're table item 16, and we're now on to City Council approval of the following. Item number 17, any speakers for this one, please? The city clerk, anybody going to? Oh, several people.
Mr. Joe Richardson?
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Joe Richardson, and I'm the author of the letters that are a part of the staff report that you've, I'm sure, read. So I'd like to comment on the agenda item in regards to the Cesar Chavez widening project. I'll start by saying that I trust that the City Council has had the opportunity to not only review the July 19th letter that is included in the original staff report, but also the July 19th letter that was originally omitted from the staff report that is now posted as a supplemental document to agenda item 17. To start, it is important to note that the DBE goal for the Cesar Chavez project is just that, it's a goal. It's not a quota, and there's no requirement by law to make the goal. There is, however, a requirement to follow Title 49, Part 26 of the Code of Federal Regulations. Granite complied with all the regulations in Title 49, Part 26, and the details of our compliance with the statute were discussed in our meeting with the city on July 17th and restated in our July 19th letter, which was originally omitted from the staff report, which is now a supplemental document. It's important to note that the city initially accepted our good faith effort as it was a portion of our responsive bid package. It was only after Caltrans sent a memo asking the city to obtain more information did they reverse their position. Granite answered all the questions posed by the city and never received any feedback as to where our submittal was deficient. Without specific feedback as to where we are lacking, we can logically assume that we complied with all the requirements and answered all the questions to the satisfaction of the city. The answers which were given in our July 17th meeting were also restated in the July 19th letter that was a supplemental document to the staff report. In regards to bid responsiveness, it is important to note that the second bidder, which you're being asked to award the project to, was afforded the opportunity to fix non-compliant documents well after bid day and submit documents that they originally forgot to submit with the bid package. The city has called these minor irregularities. However, it is our bid that's being rejected, not theirs. This looks to be inconsistent administration of the process and has the appearance of a situation in which the competitive low bid process is no longer being applied. There's only $30,000 between the base bid of the two contracts, or the two bids. So it has the appearance that the city has turned this into a best value procurement process, which, if this is the case, is a violation of public contract code. Best value was not the procurement process specified here. I would ask that if the price difference was significant between the bids, would the city still reject our bid? Would you reject all bids, or would you make a different determination? There's a lot of work involved in preparing estimates. We're happy to do it, but in return, we expect to be treated fairly. If we follow the guidelines and rules established by the federal government and the public contracting code and submit a fully responsive bid, we expect the city to do the right thing and award the project as outlined in the bid documents. Our bid is fully responsive as was originally determined by the city, and it's being rejected for factors that have nothing to do with the responsiveness of our submittal. Tonight, as you vote to either award the Cesar Chavez widening contract to the second bidder or not, ask yourself if you fully understand the facts surrounding the vote you are being asked to make. Ask yourself if you're doing the right thing based upon the facts. All that we ask is the process is consistent for all bidders, the procurement is handled as outlined in the bid documents, and the rules and guidelines be followed. If the city is not going to award our fully responsive bid, and knowing there are problems with the second bid, then the only other prudent course of action would be to reject all bids and rebid the project. Thank you for your time tonight, and if afforded the opportunity to answer any questions, I'll be happy to do so.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jeff Melcher?
Jeff Mercer, 505 Vanderbilt, El Centro, California. Mayor, council members, thank you. I'm also here to talk about Granite's bid and the rejection of our protest that we had with Pyramid. We protested Pyramid's bid for three items. One of them was the fact that they did not include, as required by state law, the contractor's license number for their subcontractors. As Joe mentioned, they got the opportunity to do that, so we saw the documents where they did turn around and add the contractor's numbers. But there's a couple other things that they didn't include. One of them was this equal opportunity certification. They turned in theirs for Pyramid, but the requirement is that they also turn in for their subs. So after our protest, they got to turn them in again, turned them in I think on the 27th of July. And I find it somewhat interesting when I look through them. These are certifications that say that they're required by the federal government, because there's federal funding in this, that they have complied with certain items. And the 7 or 8 certifications they turned in, you ought to look at them because they're not correct either. They got a second chance to do this, and they still couldn't check the correct box. Probably the third item that we protested was the fact that they, because of the DBE, the requirement that you have to verify that the subs indeed have the price in for the items of work. Looking through the subcontract information of the different subs, there's one particular one that kind of stands out. It's R. Dugan Construction. They're a DBE. Their subcontract amount was $559,334. And this was to do item 22. Now, if you will look at item 22, That item was bid for $34,500. Yet there was no way for us to look at what they were getting. They're subcontracting an item for over $500,000, and you have a bid item that Pyramid turned in for $34,500. That to me is beyond just minor deviations. I also look down through the subcontractors and I see another thing that kind of sticks out. You have two subcontractors that are listed for the same item. That again is another thing within your specifications say you can't do. You cannot list a subcontractor for the same item. You have Supreme Electric, an item that their subcontract amount was $142,500, item 31. That bid item that you're going to pay Pyramid is $30,000. They also list Perry Electric, and their bid amount is $296,000. And Perry Electric is bidding, or item of work was item 30 and item 31. Item 31 is the same item that Supreme Electric quoted. And that bid amount was, looks like it was about $280,000. I add up all their subcontracts in here. This is the information that has been supplied by Pyramid, and their total subcontracts that they claim the subcontract amount is for $4,480,000. You have items of work that they're well over $2 million for fence work, that the bid item that you're paying Pyramid is $181,000. I mean, there's some real issues in this bid. I mean, I look at the mobilization. The mobilization that you're going to pay Pyramid is $683,000. You're going to pay Granite $75,000. You have some Class 2 base in there that you're paying Pyramid $14 a cubic yard. You can't even get it to the job for that. Everyone else is at a reasonable rate, $20. I mean, there's some issues in this bid that you're planning on or have on the agenda to award. And as Joe spoke earlier, we followed everything. We did a good faith effort. It's a goal, it's not a quota. And we'll get your job done on time and at budget. Thank you.
Ralph Pipkin.
Good evening, council members. My name is Ralph Pipkin. I live in El Centro. I'm a long-time resident of Imperial Valley. Been here a long time. I'm a estimator, project manager for Granite Construction Company. I participated actively in the DBE process in this bid. I also put the bid together. We were the low bid. I believe that because of the subjective nature of the decisions that are made on behalf of the DBEs in this project, that we have been excluded unfairly. We are the low bid. We turned in a good faith effort. It was a goal. It was not a required percentage to hit. And I made hours and hours of contacts for DBEs for whom we have no control over who bids to us, who prices that work to us. We use the DBEs that are within the range of being able to be low on this bid, which we were. And I just feel it's really unfair to Granite Construction. I represent a number of Granite employees who live here in Calexico who will not work because this bid was not part of Granite's work. And I would ask you to take another look at Pyramid's documents that are really out of the ordinary. And if I were the funding agency for this project, which the federal government is, I would take a very hard look at Calexico's awarding this to a company that was clearly in violation in a number of items for the open bid process. Thank you.
Ricardo Servín.
Hello, my name is Ricardo Servín. Who is the one to decide for the bids on the construction? Because Granite and Pyramid, Granite is a better company. You're well known as a good company. I heard that Granite won the bid, but somebody from here rejected the bid. I think you should look what you guys are doing on. I think Granite is a better company. I just want to let you know because I know this company was pretty good. They have their work in all the world. Think what you guys are gonna do. For me, Granite is a better company to contract. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Servín. Staff, do you want to say anything?
I think we're proceeding still with staff recommendation on the project. And just for the record, they did note that the July 19th letter from Granite wasn't part of the package, and that's been distributed to City Council as part of the record. So.
Okay. Item 17, City Council approval of the following. A, reject the bid submitted by Granite Construction Company as non-responsive for failure to demonstrate good faith efforts to comply with federal disadvantaged business enterprise regulations. B, reject the bid protest submitted by Granite Construction. C, waive the minor deviations in the bid submitted by the Pyramid Construction and Aggregates, Inc., and award a contract to Pyramid Construction and Aggregates, Inc. as the lowest responsible bidder, submitting a response bid in the amount of $5,984,593 plus $37,625 additive bid for the Cesar Chavez Improvement Federal Project Number HPLUL 5168017. Authorize the city manager to sign the construction contract between the City of Calexico and the Pyramid Construction and Aggregates, Inc. for Cesar Chavez Boulevard Improvement, Federal Project Number HPLUL 5168017. Is there a motion to accept A, B, C, and D? A, B, C, and D.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All of them together, right?
All together?
Is that the way?
Yes. Are you going to be for? Aye.
Correct. The item on the floor approves of the A, B, C, and D. As a group, correct.
Would carry 4-0. Thank you. Moving on to item 18. Award proposal and authorize the city manager to sign agreement of professional services with the Holt Group, Inc. for construction management and inspection services for Cesar Chavez Boulevard Improvement Project, Federal Project Number HPLUL 5168017. Any comment there, Mr. Dale?
Oh, yeah, we had an outside committee review proposals that the city received for this Cesar Chavez project. This is for construction management. And the committee recommended, I think we had 3 proposals received. The committee recommended the whole group as the most qualified to do this particular project. And so, and the price is very, very reasonable.
So they're going to oversee the project.
The construction management, correct. Yeah, they
Start
will
to finish.
oversee the contractor's work, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Pacheco, I wrote the speech. I think number 16 is gone, and 19, I
Yeah, just, and for those members who weren't here earlier, when we approved the agenda item 16, we continued it to a future meeting.
For a future meeting. Mr.
Correct.
Kim.
So that'll be agendized at a special meeting.
You have something for 18?
Mr. Rodriguez or Mr. Kim? Mr. Kim might have 18. You may speak, Mr. Kim.
As City of Calexico has a reach, or we don't have an ability to managing our project, why we have to hire the Holt group to manage the project? We don't have ability to do it? Our city staffs? Or we don't have employees? So we just throwing the public money to try, instead of the contract out, we supposed to do ourselves. We just contracting out, they just answer the phone? I don't know, but we don't have money. We should do in ourselves as much as we can. My case, we don't have much business. We have to clean the stores, we have to do everything by ourselves. We don't have employees. What up to the city? City just contracting out, creating new positions, management positions, without any of the soldiers, field workers. There's something wrong here, city. Mr. Pacheco, when you just sworn in, you just targeting of the can of the waters, drinking waters. Nothing for that. This is nothing for the compare that. We need to look into the big ones to solve the money, solve our problems ourselves, instead of hiring contract and contract. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
This is a federal project. We do want to make sure that we are having somebody oversee the project.
In 20 years of experience as an engineer, every agency, every city uses outside firms to do construction management. We're actually one of the only cities that does some of our own, because we happen to have one inspector here that can do that. But this project is far beyond what we're able to do. And not only that, but this is a federally funded project, so there's a lot of paperwork that has to be taken into account, a lot of issues. It's not just answering the phone. This is actually a substantial project that needs to be undertaken by an outside firm. We don't have the capability in-house to do that right now.
Very good. Is there a motion?
Make that motion to approve. for
Second.
18.
I'll second that one. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. That's 18, right?
Yes.
That was 18. Anybody for 19? No, Mr.
Wait,
Rodriguez?
19?
Victor Rodriguez, 1172 Sapphire Street. This is regarding this item. It says emergency. Do we really have an emergency? Can we wait 3 weeks, a month? Yes, no? Or 2 months? Because I hear the problems that you have with the legal bids. Now, can you imagine giving a blank check to a contractor? That's what emergency calls. When you need to do it, they're gonna charge you whatever they want, and you don't have any say-so. Okay, so you have to be very careful when you say emergency. Emergency means, you know, that the sewer is plugged up, and it's not going nowhere. But I mean, if it's still working little by little, you can go for bids. There are not too many companies who do that type of job. And you can call it on the phone and say, hey, I need some emergency bid, and they'll do it for you in a week, 2 weeks. Or can the city crew do it? I don't know. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. Anybody else, Mr. Kim?
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. You're mentioning a lot of things I was going to mention it. And again, as an emergency, without bidding, we're going to get charged highs. Why we don't have a plan in case of a water pipe, maybe old, they might gonna be broken out. Why don't we make the older area plan to get the pre-bidding in case of emergency, in case of we need to do it fast? We already have a pre-approved section by section, so we can call them. So we're saving a lot of money. Same time, instead of we changing repairing the pipe, maybe that section we change the whole pipe. So we need to do something more creative for the saving the money and efficiency and solve the better for the community. This one, I'm not standing up because this is BS, because we never been proved this. We never been in that way. We're not going to be in that way we're handling. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, Mr. Dale was going to respond to that, but that's why we're looking at our water rates and our sewer rates. We need to project long-term fixtures, not put a Band-Aid on. This is putting a Band-Aid on. We have pipes and pipes, old sections, new sections, but I'm going to go with staff. Staff is telling us what we need to do. So, Mr. Dale, could you respond to some of the...
I'm going to try to respond patiently because this is the exact thing that we were talking about in the water rate study, that we need to replace the entire water pipeline system. We need to replace these sections. We don't need to be replacing these as an emergency item. We really don't. We should do this proactively, but we need the funding to come in to do that. And so the very people that are saying that we don't want the rates are the very ones that are saying that fix the pipes. So yes, it is a little bit. This is a pipe that's collapsing in the street. It's a public hazard. This pipe, we ran a camera through it. The pipe is separated. So if it's flowing now, it may not be flowing tomorrow. So we go to bids, fine. It's going to take us, first we got to go RFP. We got to get one of our engineers. They got to come out here. It's going to take at least 2 months to do that and get our plans and specification. Then we bring it to council and we go to bid. We're talking 5-6 months. This is not something that we can wait 5 or 6 months for.
This is the emergency.
This is the pipeline is collapsing in the street. If this doesn't say an emergency, I don't know what is not emergency then. If that's not an emergency, what is?
No, I understand. We're caught between a...
Yeah. Mayor?
Yes, Ms. Hurtado.
I very much appreciate that the public has their opinions and their comments. However, we also need to appreciate the fact that our city manager has quite a bit of experience and we're taking these issues very seriously, and that we're trying to take care of the business, as you say, and taking into consideration expense. That is exactly what we're doing right now. But we do appreciate all the opinions, and especially Mr. Rodriguez, that you have been with the city in your past experience as an employee. However, like you were just saying, Mr. Hodge, we do have a very experienced and highly professional city manager that's taking care of the business of the city. And I do want to comment, though, that by saying to wait, that if this is not an emergency, let's wait. But waiting may have been what put us in this position already, that the city does have quite a bit of funds that are put away that haven't been used. I believe it's 30 million that hasn't been used. So when are we going to wait? Forever? I think that that's probably one of our problems, as we're saying, is that due to all the circumstances that we've had in the past at least 10 years or so, we haven't moved on projects. Like right after the earthquake, I know that there's still some damage that happened after the earthquake that we haven't moved on. So waiting for what? For more issues to pop up? I don't think we can do that. I think that we've neglected our needs for a really long time, and I also agree with our city manager that we need to just move forward.
Mr. Harji, you have a comment?
I appreciate Mr. Rodriguez's comment and the idea that you have to use carefully the word emergency. That is an important issue. But with all due respect, the amount of experience that our city manager has, this particular incident does qualify for an emergency. So we need to move on
Collapsing
it.
isn't funny.
And we want to move forward proactively, as they stated, and we want to replace the pipeline sections. And we're just finishing up with our water master plan. We're going to do a wastewater collection master plan. That's going to tell us which sections to do first. But right now, we're in reaction mode. We're in reaction. We have to fix these pipes that break. This is not something that we can just wait for.
We need to think of the 40,000 inhabitants of our city and not the few that make the most noise. Because if we react to that, we're not going to get done with anything on this council. And we're here to represent the city, and we're looking forward to getting the next item again. Is what we're talking about, is getting these rates again, and it's pushing us back, and it's something that has to be done. If not now, when? Because we're putting Band-Aids on. We need to repair the whole line in the city. I don't know, Mr. Escobar, any comments? Or?
Adelante, señor.
Okay, all those in favor of accepting? I'm sorry, Mr. Rodriguez.
If I understand emergency, okay? If you call those companies, they do that type of job, I'm pretty sure you have a bid in a couple of days. And they're not gonna wait 6 months to repair the line. They can repair it in a couple of days. Okay, so don't be scared that it's gonna take 6 months. No, you call those companies tomorrow, and on Monday they'll be working in there. Because if you say emergency, they're gonna charge you for everything. They're gonna charge you for everything. I'm just trying to save you money. That's all.
Sí se hicieron dos propuestas y de las dos propuestas se tomó la más baja. Sí se hicieron dos propuestas para aclarar el tema.
Qué
No más
bueno.
que el proceso formal que está hablando el señor Deo es diferente, obviamente, porque tarda meses y ahorita no tenemos tiempo.
Yo estoy de acuerdo con eso.
Entonces
Si ya
se
le
recibieron
llamaron,
dos propuestas y tomamos la más baja.
qué bueno.
Eran tres.
Qué bueno.
Pero-
Mejor si son 3. Qué bueno. Gracias.
Well, no, I take it back, it's 2. Okay.
Only two responded.
Motion for its approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Moving on to item 20, authorize city manager to sign an to sign an amendment to the agreement between the city of Calexico and Windan Financial Services for additional professional services to update the water and wastewater rate study. Any speakers?
I'm sad to see that our council has been convinced that we have to do urgently everything together. And I'm sad our council member doesn't know how to read the budget and money we have, and they don't want to see it. City has a $41 million in pocket. And according to the report, you guys been reporting here. That money can fix it, most of the important things. And next 5 years, city gonna collect it around between $16 million, $16 to $20 million. They're gonna collecting money every year, at least $3 million profit. Even we spending $1.1 million more higher. Spending on the salary and benefit. It's crazy. City of Calexico wanted $1.1 million more spending salary and benefit for the departments because not their pocket. Yes. Same time, city wants to hire same company to bring another rate high. So just for the meeting, and meeting said, oh, ni modo. That kind of tactic, lazy, or like it was called the irresponsible. We can do ourselves a lot of things, and we called the secret meeting and leave the people, the report out, blocking the people to know what's going on, what's discussing. And where is for the citizens' benefit? My opinion is, raise the salaries, raise the rate, and then issue the bond, 6-7 entity making money, profit, including the city lawyers, and the rate, after rate is going up, selling out to the private company, privatizing our water and sewer, so they can make the profit. Probably city might gonna collecting some enterprise funds, enterprise tax to bring into the general fund. There's something wrong here. And our city council, instead of trying to saving our citizens' pocket, trying to squeeze the citizens' pocket for somebody gonna make the big money out of it. Do your job, please, council members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. You beat the 3 minutes. Any discussion?
I do have a question.
Okay.
So after that last time that we met, there was an, just because I had a question here today about that. A person was asking me if it was true that there was going to be, we were gonna look at this again, and that no one let anybody know. But apparently, just so we can make it public, there were meetings. I'm not sure how that was set up. I believe it was economic development or something like that, set up some informal group or whatever. And so that informal group met, but not necessarily sending us any recommendation.
Gotcha.
But I guess there was a conversation with administration, and with regard to whatever came out of those meetings, with those few residents with the concerns, then we decided to do this again.
It's a process. It's a 45-day notice, and then we've got, let the voters know, and go ahead, Mr. Dale.
Essentially, we have to start over from scratch, and the committee meeting that we had with the Finance and Economic Committee, and members of the public recommended that we move forward again with the rate study to update that and give us the proper numbers for resubmitting to them.
So it gave you the opportunity to have discussions with the concerns that we heard in the past.
Right. And so the plan is this time, as it's being developed, we'll be bringing it back to the Economic Finance Commission so they can review it. And if they have any issues, any specific items that they wanted to discuss, then we can have them then at that time.
So if the public wants to participate in these conversations with regard to this, they should go then to the economic development meetings.
We're having town halls, right? A couple.
It's an Economic Commission meeting, right? But it's
How
a
do the
separate.
residents-
It's not an actual meeting, agendized meeting. It's not.
So I just want to clarify, just so we're all on the same page. So what happened was that at the July Economic Development and Financial Advisory Commission, given the last direction that was received by council the day when the item was last presented, one of the things that was discussed is bringing it to the commission for further discussion. So what occurred at that meeting was the fact that there were members of the public present that expressed interest in being part of the process of moving forward now that we were going to start the process all over again from step one, as the city manager just mentioned. So as a result of that, this informal group that by no means is tasked with giving any type of recommendation to council, was made up of 2 members from the city council, were in attendance. Members from the community that requested to attend and be part of it were there. Those that attended the commission meeting, along with the city manager and myself. That is what happened. What has and 2 commissioners, exactly, and 2 commissioners. So that is how it all came about. So the conversation could begin once again, and we could provide information and look over the items at hand that have to do with this matter.
I just think that
It's simple as that.
This is an item that if we're going to have some participation from the community with the concerns of possibly tweaking whatever that is that they're concerned about, that there be more knowledge of the general public where this conversation is being held, so there could be better participation and more appropriate involvement, and that we're not being told, hey, what's going on, and we don't know. This council didn't know.
And that's right on point, Councilman Hurtado. One of the things that I would recommend is that, given what our city manager just shared with us, is that we have a standing item in our commission agendas moving forward specifically on this topic. Besides the other business that we need to handle, that the public knows that at that commission level, there's going to be a standing item specifically on this topic, so the community that wishes to attend can be briefed on it. Anybody that asks or has any questions, that would be the point or the place to make it happen, and that way we address what you're mentioning right now.
Well, like right now, I have no idea. The curiosity is, okay, well, what were the concerns? Because the decisions happened in this dais, but then there was conversations that occurred somewhere else, and okay, that's fine, we're here again. But if we're gonna have the continuation of participation of public to be able to watch what it is and participate in the continuous steps, then I think we need to be better at advising the public that it's happening.
I think everybody learned a lesson from the first round.
I think so too.
And based on what I just shared with you, part of what Mr. Dale has proposed and we need to do is have that outreach with the community at specific forums where we can have a mass invitation and we can provide information of the process and how it's going. So, I mean, and that with ample time, those things will be put out so that people can be notified and attend.
Just want to remind the public, though, we did have 3 sessions.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I motion for its approval again this time, gentlemen, and hopefully I'll have a second this time.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Hodge.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And I'm
Unanimous.
kind of sorry we had to spend again.
21, to provide direction to move forward to expand commercial activities with the cannabis overlay zone and host a community forum. Mr. Figueroa.
Yes, on May 2nd, this council made a selection of 2 council members to take part of a cannabis industry ad hoc subcommittee. As part of the council and the direction per those 2 council members that were chosen, there was a meeting that took place in the month of June in which the subcommittee provided direction to staff in terms of the expectations and the work to be done. One of the things that was prioritized was having a public forum. Having experts come in the field and provide information to the community on a number of things, including the consideration of additional commercial cannabis activities in the city of Calexico. At this point, what's being brought to the council's attention is the follow-up to what we as staff were told or directed to do. The subcommittee met, work was done. Now what's being recommended is to get the direction from council to move forward with what I just shared with you. I'm not sure if any of the members of this subcommittee would like to make a statement.
Elaborate a little more. It's stated well here in the agenda, but under the existing zoning ordinance amendment, commercial cannabis activity does not include delivery, dispensing, and retail sale of cannabis or cannabis products. And this is something that the ad hoc committee has taken in consideration, and this is what we mean when we want to expand commercially. After analyzing expanding commercial cannabis activities, we recommend the City Council provide direction to expand commercial cannabis activities within the cannabis overlay zone and to direct staff to host a community forum, as you just indicated, to inform and educate the public on the expansion of cannabis activities. And that expansion, again, is possible delivery and dispensing and retail sale of cannabis. Anything you'd like to add, Mr.?
I think it's important that we realize that commercial cannabis is going to happen sooner or later. And Calexico needs to capitalize on the sooner rather than the later. Having said that, even though it's an important revenue stream for our general fund, which is significantly hampered at this time, we also need to have the public weigh in as to if it's something they want in their community or not. That's very important, and the community needs to really weigh on this issue to see if we really want to move forward with the commercial cannabis aspect that we're talking about. Thank you.
Okay. More to come and forums to come. All those in favor of
I'll
accepting?
make a motion
Accept,
to approve.
Mr. Hodge,
Item 2021, is it?
Okay.
Yes.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Okay. Let's
May I
go.
make a couple of comments too? Real quick. With regard to this issue, I think we're kind of going with the cart before the horse. And when we take these items so complex and so controversial to a small conversation with a subcommittee, I don't think that we are appreciating really what it is that we're trying to bring to this community. And the reason I'm voting no today is that this community, in my view, is just not ready for this. And our partners with the federal government have come to this council to warn us that this is not a good thing for the city of Calexico, being we're a border city. Thank you.
Okay. Duly
Okay.
noted.
All righty. Item 22, ratification of the Economic Development Financial Advisory Commission minutes for their meeting held on October the 12th, November the 7th, January the 9th, and February the 27th, and just recently, May the 9th.
Right.
This is it's self-explanatory. What we want to do is that we want to make sure that we're accountable for the work the commission does. And as a practice that we want to instill in our city, we bring these minutes for the council's ratification. I do want to point out that there's a meeting missing that took place in the month of July. Obviously, the August meeting has not occurred, so those meetings have not been approved, but will come before you in the coming months.
I think you're doing a template for the other commissions to be doing exactly what you guys are doing, and
I
that's
had
providing
recommended that.
with minutes and of their meetings and recording it. Thank you, Mr. Figueroa. Motion to approve their minutes.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anything for the future? Good to the order? Any concerns?
No, not from.
No, nothing
I already
pressing?
stated it earlier.
Okay, hey, 8:30. We beat it. Thank you. We're going to adjourn. Muchísimas gracias.